All right, everybody, welcome back to the Move podcast, brought to you by the OURA ring. This thing, and sure enough, look at me. I left mine in my damn sundry kit, but I'm gathering so much data from this thing, not just sleep data, helping me recover, get ready to kick George's ass this summer, heart rate variability, core temp, respiratory rate, movement through the night, sleep cycles, all this stuff in the business, just killing it. Super proud of them. About to launch a bunch of new partnerships that we're working on. So head on over to OURA Ring, OURA Ring, OURAring.com, and let's get on track. Come on. Why would you not want to know? That is my question. Over there in ATX in his camper, his mobile home, JB Hager, the newly vaccinated George Hincapie, all you super fans who always want to be around George, now you can. He's safe. And all the way in Madrid, Johan Brunel, the encyclopedia of cycling. So talking about Milan-San Remo, nothing like burning 7 hours watching something and it's exciting for 10 minutes, but it makes it worth it. I mean, this race that is always the case almost all the time, but hell, that was worth it today. Congratulations to Jasper Stuyven, who's, by the way, we follow each other on Instagram, and I was DMing him. We're going back and forth. So just saying, George.
I like it. You're getting all these connections established before the big show this summer.
Yeah.
Before we get too into it, I got to know two things. One, where are you, Lance, and what's with the shirt?
Well, I'm really glad you guys asked where I am because, for the loyal listener, that I have a love-hate relationship with one town in this country. Okay. And it's Boulder, dude. Snow, dude, the other day, snow. I couldn't go out and climb flat irons, man. Couldn't do intervals. I just sat at home in my chamois and did work. Couldn't go outside, dude. I saw Neil Rogers and Vaughters and all these guys, saw some climbers. So I'm in Boulder, dude. But here's the thing, bro. Here's the thing. I had a bunch of righteous celestial teas the whole time. And so, in some bars, like some nut bars and stuff. And then last night I went out to, this fancy pizzeria locale right on Pearl Street, dude. It was amazing. But I'm now I am in Boulder, but I'm at the new world headquarters for my buddy Robin Thurston's Outside magazine. Like, this guy's going to reinvent the whole thing. But dude, Boulder, bro. So that's where I am. I'm in Boulder. How about that? Boulder dude is back. Okay.
And the shirt
is here to stay forever because, my hair just, I don't know what happened. I think the last 10 years were just so damn stressful. And I go back and look at pictures, like you see it almost by the month. And I was like messing with it the other day. It's not even gray anymore.
Well,
it's
for those, we gotta describe it for those listening to the podcast.
I know, but that's a good prompt for those listening. You got to watch this show. This show is so much better to watch. But this is a funny story. I was at a restaurant in Aspen last summer, and a dude walked in with the black t-shirt on and these big block letters, and it said "openly gray." And like, I don't like talking to people. Y'all know this. But I said, "Hey, dude, where did you get that shirt?" He's like, "Oh, but he didn't know." So I went straight home and I Googled openly gray t-shirt. And sure enough, first thing that popped up. So I bought myself one on the internet, and what do y'all think? Like, for those on YouTube, you can see it. I am openly gray.
So you bought that shirt last summer? And
yeah,
it just showed up.
No, I was digging through my drawer because I wanted to wear some WEDÖ swag, and it was there, and I was like, hey, and I knew I was going to be in Boulder, dude. So I was like, I'll just piss everybody off. I don't, it was one of those days. So
Boulder being you're referencing it, very super politically correct.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Let's take care of a little business. Today's show brought to you by Athletic Brewing. This company, I tell you something, you talk about a brand that's on fire for those people. And I've had a bunch of jam sessions with one of the founders, Bill. He brought up this expression, sober curious. right? So, people either drink all the time like I used to, or they don't drink at all. But every now and again, people are sober curious. Like, hey, what would it be like if I didn't drink on school nights, but I still want to have a cold craft brew that's non-alcoholic? This is your answer. Athletic Brewing. These guys are absolutely crushing it. They're in every damn store you walk into now. Super, super proud of them. Highest quality ingredients. And by the way, this is the Upside Dawn, which is how people treat me in Boulder. But that's not true either. People are actually super nice to me here. I got to say, I was on a run this morning and this dude stopped me. He was on a bike and he turned around and came back up to me. He was like, "Hey, Lance." I was like, "Hey, what's up, bro?" Anyways, Boulder, man, I love you. But they're just crushing it. The best ingredients. But what I was saying is Higgs was drinking the new seltzer the other day. And this thing, man, is money. And not only that, they do great. They always give back. Their big initiative is 2 for the Trails. They donate 2% of all sales to maintaining the trails and parks that are often underserved by government budget shortfalls. Imagine that. And for our members, special deal, head on over to athleticbrewing.com. 25% off for first-time orders. Use the discount code THEMOVE 25. Today's show also brought to you by Roka. I talk about these guys all the time, these guys and gals down in Austin. They're such a badass eyewear brand. Look, George, oh my God, with the shirt in Boulder and the silver hair and the titanium aviators that Roka makes. I mean, stop right now. Just they're innovating all around. Their new Matador shade is my favorite. That's my go-to when I'm out running or riding or mountain biking, or even what I'm doing now in the winter, uphill skinning and skiing down. I love it. They're the best lenses out there. Even before they were our partners on the show, I loved this brand. And I loved the fact that they were from my hometown of Austin, Texas. Sponsor a bunch of great men's and women's teams out there, including Justin Williams, who I think is just a phenom. For our listeners, 20% off your first purchase. Head on over to Roka, and that is ROKA.com, and type in THEMOVE, all one word, 20% off your first purchase. The other thing I'll say is I don't leave home without my Roka backpack. Like, I travel my ass off all the time. That backpack, man, I can put a bunch of crap in there and it's always comfortable. So Roka.com. Let's talk about Milan-San Remo. I already said it. Congratulations to Jasper Stuyven, but I thought it was an exciting race. Johan, you watch more bike racing than maybe anybody in the world. What did you think?
No, I mean, it was a typical traditional scenario. Nothing going on at the beginning, 8 riders away. The longest race of the season, 294 kilometers plus 10 kilometers neutral. So that's very special. And it's, as you said, there's nothing going on, but, the kilometers are getting in the legs bit by bit. And at the end, the Cipressa, the first one with about 30 kilometers to go. And then the Poggio, which is normally where the selection happens. And we had the traditional development of the race. We expected the 3 big ones, Van Aert, Van der Poel, and Alaphilippe. They were there. They tried to make the difference on the Poggio, but 11 guys together and on the top, and then some came back. And it was clear from the moment that you could see that none of those 3 could get away, that the winner was going to be somebody else. Because who wants to go to the finish with these 3 guys? And on top of that, probably one of the fastest guys, Caleb Ewan, was there. So yeah, I mean, an amazing, and I think well-deserved victory for Jasper Stuyven. He really, he did it perfectly. And he's a guy. He's 20. I think he's 28 now. So he's been there for a bit. He's been promising, and he's won some semi-classics. But now finally he has that big win, which it was there. It was there in the makings. But yeah, I mean, I was impressed with his final. He rode perfect and really smart too.
And just let me chime in right quick, George. I know you got a lot of thoughts, but I just want to say something about Jasper Stuyven. This kid, and you want to cheer for somebody. You want to cheer for the good guys. Like, this dude is such a good guy. He was back on our development team, 10 years ago. What started as Trek Livestrong and then became Bontrager and all these other names. But just the sweetest kid, and he's a great friend. I remember a few years back, Lawson Craddock got married. We went to the wedding, and Jasper flew all the way over from me. I mean, he's a personable guy, super sweet, very friendly. If you're sitting at home, going, gosh, is he a good? I mean, one of the good guys won today, which that's always cool. It's cool to see him really develop. And he, as you said, Johan, he'd been knocking on the door for years, and boy, he got a big one today.
I think before we break down what happened in the finish, it was, like you said, Johannes, a typical Milan-San Remo. You saw the weather was good. Obviously, they always say Milan-San Remo is not that hard. It's not that hard to finish, but it's very, very difficult to finish in the first group. You saw the guys, the typical standard breakaway go away. The same teams that we thought would be pulling were chasing the breakaway down. What was really interesting to me was at the end, nobody really had teammates. I mean, Caleb was on his own. Alaphilippe was on his own. Wout van Aert was on his own. VDB was on his own. And Jasper was able to take advantage of the situation where he was able to just put it all on the line. And like he said in his post-race interview, he much preferred to know that he gave everything he had and finished last in that break than, and then go for the win, which is what he did. And it was just incredible to watch him hold that lead. But he definitely owes Søren Kragh Andersen a big beer or a bottle of champagne, because without him bridging up to him in the finish, he would not have made it all the way. So
hang on a second. Was that, finish. I wondered, hang on a second. Was that our man? From the Scott band, from No Doubt. Are you kidding me? I mean, I already liked this guy a lot, and I was watching with Robin this morning. I was like, who the hell is this guy? That was the ska rocker.
Yeah, the guy who won two stages of the Tour de France.
Yes, I love that dude. Yeah.
Total stud. He wasn't there. He wasn't there at the top of the climb, I don't think. But we saw the descent.
He was there. He was there.
Okay.
Yeah. It was the first guy who reacted when Van der Poel and Alaphilippe and Van Aert went. He was the next guy who went.
God, but you saw from the start of the descent, there was nobody all in for that descent. So what happens there? The group, although Stuyven was there as well, there was a group that came back from behind. But Søren, I mean, he bridged up to Jasper. I mean, he had about 5-10 second lead. He bridged up on his own, went past him, and basically told him to 250 meters to go.
Well, I think what happened was, that was actually really, really interesting to see. And there you could see that Stuyven really played it very smart. The moment. Well,
that's called the Belgian flick move, right? I got nothing left, man. You want to sit up or you want to take?
No.
That's a patented Belgian move.
No, if you look clearly, it's so Kragh Andersen bridges up. He sits a bit on the wheel, and with about 700 meters to go, he tries to pass like really fast. It's kind of an attack. And the fact that Stuyven could stay on the wheel, he looked back, and from then on, I think in his mind, he just rode for second. He said, it's either second or nothing, because he had nobody in the back. And that was the luck of Jasper Stuyven. And then he could keep his cool because, at some point he was looking behind it. They were really, really close. And he kept his cool for like two extra seconds. And that's basically what got him the win.
I mean, but look, when you're watching this, and when he went, he got, obviously he has a huge engine. He got such a gap. I mean, what are they going to do? You've got 6 or 7, 6+ amazing sprinters back there, right? Even the novice fan can sit there and do the math. Like, nobody's going to work. If you get that gap, obviously at the very end, they are sprinting. If he's close, they're going to be going, 40+ miles an hour. So they're going to bridge that gap quick, but boy, he played it right. And I guess the last thing I thought, I mean, this Caleb Ewan, this guy cannot get over an overpass in the Tour de France. And if you get suckered into watching the race and you see Cipressa, I think the average was 4.1%. Poggio's 3.7%. If you get suckered into looking at, those are nothing, right? You go right up those climbs at the start of your ride, you won't even know you're going uphill. But at the end of 7 hours and at the end of 300 kilometers, trust me, they feel like they're 13%. But for him to hang in there, and not just hang in there, it wasn't like he was swinging off the back. That was an amazing ride. And nobody had his name down there. Nobody. It didn't
I agree.
Come up in our pre-show, and man, good for him.
Yeah, I saw the post-race interview of Caleb Ewan, and he explained, because if you look at some point, just before the top, like 300-400 meters before the top, Van Aert goes, but he was actually preparing a move. And he said that he trained specifically on this attack to try to, first of all, to be there. He was in second position all the time on the Poggio and not looking like he was struggling. He was solidly there. I was really surprised to see that from him. It's you would never expect him to be there with the 10 most explosive riders.
Yeah, especially he had a bit of an illness, I believe, in Paris-Nice where he dropped out. So the one advantage I guess is that he does live right near there. He's probably trained that climb, a couple hundred times already this year and knows the descent really well. But clearly the climb is about who can position themselves the best at the bottom, because it's so twisty and turny at the bottom that somebody like Caleb was really able to navigate himself in a good position at the bottom. And I wasn't aware of which teammates were with him at that point or not. But clearly the team is disappointed that nobody was there with him at the end, or any of the other big favorites for that matter.
Yeah. Well, Tim Wellens was there until the middle of the Poggio, I think, or just to the top of the Poggio. But I think that was also very, very particular of this race, of this edition of Milan-San Remo, that almost nobody had teammates. And, we spoke before about, for example, Van der Poel and Van Aert. During the race or in the final, they were quite isolated. I think Van der Poel had at least one guy there between the Cipressa and the Poggio, but he had to move up twice on his own, because it was, something else I really remarked was this. It was crazier than a bunch sprint to go to the last kilometer before the Poggio.
Well, what you're missing one thing, Sagan did have a teammate. He had Schachmann with him, which true. If I was the director of OURA, I'd be telling Schachmann, your day is done. You need to get Sagan to the front. Clearly, Sagan is now feeling much better. He's there. He looked good all day, was right up at the front leading into the Cipressa and the Poggio. At that point, if Schachmann is not getting away with 2 or 3 guys, his role needs to be all about Sagan from that moment on.
Hey,
probably not really strong instructions from the car, I would say,
Yeah,
that'd be a little. Yeah, Schachmann wins Paris-Nice, and he probably heard that JB Hager picked him to win, and he's like, you know what? This Peter, this make party, fuck him is probably what he was. JB Hager picked me from Austin. That's I got to represent.
Everyone seemed to think that Sagan was out of form, so maybe Schachmann didn't want to work for him for that reason. He had his own goals.
Can I just say something? Let me just say one thing before because I don't want anybody to steal my idea. This has nothing to do with Milan-San Remo, but my man, the Sky Rocker, however you pronounce that name. All these, he is going to be a factor in every single spring classic that he starts. Just
strong. Okay? He's strong. Very strong.
You're putting it really out on the line there, Lance. Wow.
You know what? Did you wake up? What was in that vaccine? Did they give you some grumpy? Everybody thought there was a microchip in this vaccine, and Georgia's got just a little grumpy gene. He's just. I'm gonna get that thing, and we'll like reverse. I'll be the nice guy.
Might be the new Lance.
Yeah, I'll be the nice guy that everybody likes, and you'll be, the controversial one that I don't know, man. He's.
Do you guys think that Stuyven was? I know in the heat of the moment, as sprint finish, she's doing what you can do, and a lot of it's impulse. Do you think he knew these are the favorites? They have no team support. I can catch them staring at each other, basically. Is it that conscious, or is it just?
But JB, by the way, you have to have the engine to do that. Anybody, Anderson could have been that guy. If you have the guy with the engine that's fresh enough and you time it just right, that works, right? And obviously he knew, okay, all these fast guys are going to sit around and look at each other. They're not going to. By the way, they have 2 minutes to figure this out. It's not like they can have a conversation and go, guys, let's all work together. Let's all bring it back, and then let's all sprint. No, you have no time. So it's just an opportunist move, which oftentimes works. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was a planned move actually. I spoke to the team manager of Trek Segafredo, to Luca Guercilena, and he told me that the instructions came from the car to give it a try. And I think it's the nice thing about this is that because if you go down the Poggio, everybody says, okay, once we get down, we come on that big avenue, and then you have 2 kilometers to kind of go. He went just a little bit before. And if you look closely, he nearly can pass, because you have to get the space also to do it. You know, on the big avenue, after the Poggio, you can do it, but he went just before. And I think that was the secret of his move, you know, because it was Pidcock who was trying to follow him, and he had been pulling already before.
Yeah, he might have done a quick inventory of who was in that first group, because he kind of came over the Poggio in last position of that group. But that's just quick thinking on his feet, and like he said, he just wanted to risk it all, and he knew that whoever chased him down was really putting their chances of the win, in trouble. So he took that chance, and it's just amazing to see that work out.
I think Pidcock is worth acknowledging, because Johan brought him to our attention early on this show. And in cross, he's up against Van der Poel and Van Aert again and again and again, and he's always third because he fades at the end. He did not fade in the longest race of the season, which is amazing. So anyhow, I know Johan's been talking about this guy for some time.
You know, I mean, listen, he's been world champion numerous times. He won the Giro, the amateur Giro last year, so he can climb. He's up there. I mean, he has beaten those guys this year. He's beaten Van der Poel and he's beaten Van Aert in the cyclocross, one time each. But I mean, still, I mean, you have to do it. It's a top. I mean, it's a top world class athlete. So I have to say, though, you know, after it's his first year professional, to be up there in the final after 300 kilometers, that says a lot about the engine somebody has. That guy's the real deal.
Hey, can I take care of a little business before we keep going here?
Yeah.
Today's show. Yeah. Thank you, guys, and thanks to all our partners out there. You guys are awesome. Today's show also brought to you by Ventum. We did a bunch of stuff with Ventum last year, and I've been riding not just the road bike, but I've been riding their new gravel bike. This thing's a whip. It's light. It's fast. I love it. And it's kind of been my go-to lately. I know we did some WEDÖ editions last year that quite a few folks snatched up, but direct to consumer, totally customized. You build it however you want, wheel set, component set, whatever it is, all assembled in the U.S., right from their headquarters in Utah. This is the other great thing. 30-day money back guarantee. No questions. You don't like it, send it back. We by the way, we have a bunch of cool brands on our show that offer that, which is like, look, we'll put our stuff up there. You don't like it, give it back. Lifetime warranty on all frames, which is awesome. I mean, these frames these days, you never know. Personal customer support. New bike builds start as low as $2,699. That is $1 less than $2,700. They could have made that easier for me to read. Thank you, Dia. Love you, brother. So head on over to ventumracing.com. Can I just say one more thing while we're talking about bikes? I'm about damn ready to ride a bike. Okay. This living in Colorado, stuck in the snow, George, you know, guy still trains like he raced, you know, when he's racing. I cannot ride a bike. So it's not fair. But now that I'm just sitting here talking about Ventum and talking about this bike that I ride when it's dry out, I can't wait. It has nothing to do with this partnership, but I'm just saying, I don't know.
We all can't wait to get you back on the bike, Lance. You know, we missed that. We need you on the bike.
I do think it's better for me. I think I'm happier, and it's. I need that time out on the road alone to work shit out, man. I really do. It's true on my Ventum. Head on over to Ventum, VENTUM racing.com. Use the buy code THEMOVE, 10% off any purchase until the end of April, basically through the Spring Classic. So thanks for the Ventum crew. Last one of the day. Oh, yeah, my people. Talk about if you don't like it, send it back. My folks over at LMNT, this is still my go-to. And speaking of riding, I'm much more of a consumer of LMNT when I'm out riding, and it's hot, but it's what I need. 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams of magnesium. Not just our partner here on the show, but partner with Navy SEALs and all the big leagues. This stuff is my jam. And by the way, if anybody's wondering, orange salt, that's my one, right? There's 4 different flavors. Orange salt. And to the crew, James and the whole crew at LMNT, You send me so much product. I appreciate it. Just send me orange salt from now on. That's all. It's the only one I want. And also money back guarantee, but they even up at one. They say, if you don't like it, then give it to one of your salty friends. How strong is that? Oh, that's amazing. Head on over to drinklmnt.com/TheMove.
So going back to Peacock, Johan, obviously we saw a really strong Ineos leading into.
Did you just say peacock?
Oh God.
Pitcock.
It's the vaccine.
Tom, it is the vaccine. Tom Pitcock.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
Can we
what
start over?
about him? No, we leave that in. Come on, it's nice.
Okay, going back to Pitcock, and seeing a really strong Ineos at the bottom of the Poggio, leading in with 3 or 4 guys. And then obviously Van Aert wasn't able to win. Van der Poel wasn't able to win, but still, did a very, very strong race. You can't really criticize those guys at all. Which teams and what tactics would you think weren't up to par today? And which teams do you think kind of screwed up the most tactically?
I mean, I know that I wrote down here, that I don't really understand. I mean, first of all, Ineos was riding as a team. It's probably the best race I've seen from them until this year as a unit. They were very strong, but I don't know really what their purpose was, because they went very, very fast between the Cipressa and the Poggio with Luke Rowe, and then they came into the Poggio, and Filippo Ganna was unbelievable, very, very strong, and then Van Baarle took over. They do have Kwiatkowski. He's an ex-winner of the race, but I don't think this is not the same Kwiatkowski we've seen a few years ago. And Pitcock, but Pitcock would probably he was probably planning an attack on the Poggio. That's the only thing I can imagine, because he's a lightweight, he's a climber. Once they were over the Poggio, it was going to be difficult for them. He did try to risk something in the downhill, but he had Van Aert on his wheel immediately. So I don't really understand what their tactics were. Although Pitcock was very strong in the final. Other teams, it's like you say, I saw Van Aert was quite alone after the Cipressa, completely alone actually after the Cipressa. There was nobody left with him. Van der Poel had one guy, and then we had Bora Hansgrohe, but there was not really a lot of team tactics going on anymore. From the moment they were between the Cipressa and the Poggio, it was everybody was nervous, getting in a good position, and then so I don't know. There was not really a part of Ineos who had 4 guys. There was nobody else. I saw that Alaphilippe had Stibar and Ballerini up there at the end, but on the Poggio, but then they didn't make the cut. So I don't know. It was basically, I think it was a race of the whole peloton against the 3 big favorites. And once these guys couldn't make a difference, then it was everybody for on their own. What did you say? Did you see something special?
Well, just what I mentioned earlier with Schachmann not helping out Sagan at all. I thought it was interesting. De Koenig did they have anybody else in there in the final? There was over 20 guys there at the end, which is not very common for such a powerhouse team like that, to not have at least somebody else in there. Of course, Sam Bennett had some bad luck on the Capoberta. And, even though he's having an incredible year in a race like that, being so long and the climbs being at the end, he needs to have pretty much everything go perfect for him to be there at the finish. But it was just interesting that some of these bigger teams didn't have at least one other guy there with them. Yeah, it was. And I think it's something we've seen already a few times, as like even Paris-Nice, for example, we were talking before, like Jumbo-Visma was not the Jumbo-Visma that we've seen in the past. Ineos, until today, they were nowhere even near to what their normal strength is in numbers. So, I mean, I think it makes for more aggressive and more interesting racing.
Can I ask you a question? Have I talked about this before? Do you guys remember I'm still on the podcast? It's unbelievable. You saw, by the way, I this was a training race for me. Just saying. Caleb Ewan would have been in the first 5 guys. I would have been out the back. That's how bad I was at this race. But no, I'm now gonna be serious. should we slow the sport down? Have I talked about this before? Should we just slow the whole thing down, get rid of all the bikes and the wheels, all this stuff's too fast. It's too easy. I think we need to slow it down, make them ride. Remember, George, don't you start shaking your head at me. Okay. Mr. Nice Guy.
Mr. Johan, I need these shoes to be 200 grams lighter. I need this saddle to be lighter. I need my bars. What kind of bar tape is this?
That was then. This
blah, blah, blah. Now you're saying
imagine if we just slowed the whole thing down and the wheels, I mean, it would be a sufferfest. Johan, are you feeling me?
No. No, you know what?
I've looked. Robin Thurston's sitting right across. Do you want to do a podcast with me that we all we just agree with everything? Yes. So I now have somebody who will agree with me on everything. That'll be the best show ever. We just also yes.
So you're suggesting slowing it down with subpar equipment?
Limiting certain advanced equipment. You can't slow down progress.
So you want people to like start digging out their old equipment and buying off Craigslist instead of new gear?
I'm saying we go like Wolber rims, old Campy hubs, the 4-cross in the back. You might let guys have 2-cross in the front and just
tires around their neck.
No, just slow the whole thing down. It makes a 300-kilometer race that much harder. And then at the end, it's just like a true slugfest. And it's not, they were going 30 miles an hour up the Poggio.
I don't think these races are getting any easier, by the way.
No.
They're hard enough. They don't need to be any harder.
No, it's, I think, it's every era has always used the best equipment that was available at that time. That's what you're looking for. So I don't think you can. And nowadays, I think, the cycling is so much dominated by actually the cycling industry. Bike brands have become so big and so important that they actually can sponsor their own team. So they're all for, new technologies and faster and new things. And that's called evolution, Lance. Evolution.
I know. It's just, you know what? Honestly, I felt like y'all were ignoring me for a second. So I just wanted to say something just to get y'all riled up. And I did. So there.
One thing's for sure. Today was the first monument of the year. It was a little boring at first, but the ending was super exciting. We saw the favorites who expected to be up there. We saw some new guns, Jasper Stuyven, who, this is the guy for Roubaix and Flanders. Nobody, I don't think anybody would have picked him for San Remo, but he's there, won a big race. He's going to come off this race with a ton of confidence. He's got nothing to lose for the rest of the classic season. He's playing with house money now. So let's watch Jasper for the rest of the year.
Right here, boys. Huh? There he is right there on our old development team there from Radio Shack days. Huh?
What is that like? That's like 11 years ago.
I think it's 2011. But one other thing that we were talking about on our group messages the other day is, and I didn't catch this headline, but Paris going into a 30-day lockdown. Oh man, please tell me this shit's not rearing its ugly head again. And man.
Yeah. So, listen, Italy is on a lockdown completely and they had the race today. So, I think the difference, I'm trying to be optimistic, I think the difference with last year is that now organizations like that, they know how to deal with this already. Mm-hmm. So I'm quite optimistic for Paris-Roubaix. And, unless there's...
What's the vaccine situation over there, Johan? George got less advanced.
There's no way over here.
No,
there's no way. I could get it right now. There's no way. Okay. No, they're still with.
They kicked out elderly. The one. What was the other vaccine? They
AstraZeneca. No, it's back in. I think they delayed it, but it's back in apparently.
Mm-hmm. A lot can change between now and July with vaccinated people. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, but nothing's going to change from now to Paris-Roubaix. Yeah. That's the first concern. Paris, specifically Paris, is on complete lockdown. But I think the ASO, they're going to find a solution. They're, as long as it can finish in Roubaix, they'll start anywhere. It doesn't have to be Compiègne.
Well, and by the way, that's how far? That's not Paris.
It's not Paris. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else we got to check off on? We got another
couple of emails.
Oh, you got some good questions. Yeah. That you mentioned
a couple of questions. You can always write to us at TheMove@WEDÖ.team. I'll remind you again at the end here, but it says, guys, so happy that the cycling season is happening and you guys are back. I've also enjoyed the membership, especially watching all the pre-show banter. Do you have anything new or different planned for members in 2021? I especially enjoy the happy hour Q&A. That's from James in London.
Well, James in London. As a matter of fact, we do. Are we ready? We have our weekly call every week. Are we ready to talk about that? We're not ready to talk about that because I actually have some updates for you guys this week on the weekly call. But there will be, outside of the extra bonus content and the sort of the live show and the pre-show meetings and sort of taking of notes and the banter, we're coming with a bunch of new offerings. It's going to be cool. Most of which George is paying for, which is even better. This is amazing. Thank you, George. So sort of.
All right. One more question for you guys, and you can answer individually together, however you see it. But it says, what was a tactical mistake you made in a race that cost you the win that haunted you for some time?
Ooh.
Keep up the great work. That is Lisa from Michigan.
You want me to go first?
Any ideas, guys?
Well, it does. And I don't know, JB doesn't have to be specific to the classics.
No, not anytime. Anytime.
Yeah.
It screw up a tactic and it just haunted you. And
the one that sticks out the most, and this is, this would have been one that George would have been yelling and screaming about, and Johan probably would have supported George.
Don't say what I'm thinking you're going to say, please, but go ahead.
And I don't remember which tour it was, which year, but Richard Virenque got a zillion minutes on the stage to the Ventoux. And we just sort of let him hang out there, as you do with these long breakaways. But we gave it, he had too much time at the bottom. And then of course I had that stage with Pantani and didn't get that win. And looking back on a mountaintop finish and an iconic finish like Ventoux, I would do anything to just say, hey, Johan, can we just ride a little bit harder right now? Instead of letting him have 10 minutes at the bottom, how about we give him 7 minutes at the bottom? Because it ain't going to be too hard on these big horses up here. They can just ride a little harder and let me catch his ass and win on the Ventoux. And I got second or whatever. But I mean, I didn't get what?
It's funny you bring that up. Lance. And you know what? I know. Now that I think about it, I know what happened. I know why we gave him too much time that day.
Because George was complaining that we were riding too hard.
No.
People are going to get mad at us.
No,
I don't even remember that day. I do remember saying that at some point, though.
I had our dear friend, may he rest in peace, Robin Williams in the car.
Mm.
And I remember, it's an experience I'm never going to forget, It was a private comedy show in my car, and I was laughing the whole. The stage to the Ventoux is sometimes there's a lot of flat, very boring. So and there was this breakaway was gone, and I remember at some point I said, okay, Robin, like an hour before we got to the Ventoux, I say, Robin, now I have to ask you, please, can you now stop and be serious because I need to get focused here. And that's why he got too much time.
Well, you know what? Then I take back everything I said, because I miss that man more than you can ever imagine. I watched his documentary on HBO the other day that Marina Zinovich did. It was, and I don't know what took me so long to watch it. Maybe because I'm too cheap to buy these subscriptions and all these streaming services, but I did, and I watched it. It's incredible. So if that is the reason that Richard Virenque beat me on Mont Ventoux, and I'll never, at 50 years old, it's safe to say I will never win that stage. That's okay. So I take all that back, and that's a great. By the way, we've known each other a long time. You never told me that story.
No, it was amazing. It was
waited
amazing.
Today. All right, George, what did you mess up?
So it was 2008 or 2009. We were going over one of the highest peaks in all of France. Johan probably knows what that is, Col d'Agnes, or one of those. I was in the breakaway with a big breakaway, about 15 guys.
Was it called Agnès or called the La Bonnette?
Agnès. And they were all very good breakaway riders, but not like pure climbers. So I made it to the top of the climb, all descending down to the finish. I put these super light wheels on that day that I had never ridden them. 200 meters from the KOM, they were sprinting for the KOM. Well, I made it in the group. I'm a very good descender. So I gave them the 50-meter gap that, for the sprint. Well, we got over the top, and with these wheels that I had never ridden downhill, they were super stiff. They were chattering around every corner. I wasn't able to close the gap to 3 or 4 guys that were in front of me, which normally I'd be able to close that gap all day long, and ended up getting 5th place on the stage, which I definitely should have been there with those guys, had I've, sprinted with them, and who knows what would have happened at the finish. But I ended up getting 5th place on a stage just because I let them get the gap for the KOM sprint. And that really hurt.
I think that's a very cheap excuse, George. with those wheels. I mean,
you guys know that I could descend with the best.
How many downhills did you do before the last descent?
It's different when you're going for the win than when you're going down the hill in a breakaway.
Come on.
That's a full gas thing. Something that I was very, very good at. And I could not get down that freaking mountain with these wheels.
You couldn't follow me that one time on the downhill in San Sebastian on the backside of the high ski bell.
That is true.
You couldn't follow the old man, could you? Huh?
And you know what? Coincidentally, I'm not gonna say it. I had the same wheels on. That's enough. I'm not gonna say which brand they were.
All right, Johan, what you got?
Okay, the one that comes to mind to me is that the stage to Jouplan. Which I think incidentally was also won by Veronk, I think, because he was away with Roberto Heras, and Heras crashed in the last corner.
Right. And I knew Heras played in this. Okay. Yeah.
The mistake we made there was basically I'm sorry, I have to be rough on you, Lance, but it was basically your fault.
Everything in cycling is my fault.
You're used to it. No, but we had, if you remember well, it was a stage, and I also had a very special guest in the car that day. I had the Prime Minister of Belgium, Guy Verhofstadt, with me in the car, and I was, kind of proud to show, okay, listen, this is what's going to happen, and then Lance is going to attack on the Jouplan, and we're going to win the stage, and Pantani had attacked. At the beginning of the stage, and he was absolutely no concern at all for the overall. But you got a bit, annoyed and a bit, heated up, and we rode a bit too fast. There was absolutely no reason to catch the breakaway because we were. I think you had a 6 or 7 minute lead in the GC, and there was And so, finally you bonked on the last climb, because I think you got caught up in the situation of the race.
Well, it was a really short stage. And so those stages, you kind of mentally, and it was towards the end of the tour, and you're like, we're in top shape, and I don't need to eat that much. And man,
exactly. Yeah. So you didn't eat, you were thinking more about the situation and about, conserving energy. And then, you got that bad moment on the Jouplan, and luckily we could save it. You lost a minute and a half or something. You could have lost 6 minutes on a climb like that. So I think that was
who was that old Italian guy that because at that point in the race, it's so close to the finish, you're not allowed to take bottles or food from the side of the road. And of course, I'm looking at all these people going, "Holy shit, man! Somebody hand me something. I got to get going here." I had nothing. Right? Couldn't take it from the car. Couldn't take anything from the car, and it's too risky to take it from the side of the road. And I got, was it Conti? Who's the Italian
Roberto Conti? Yeah.
Roberto Conti. Let me tell you something. I seriously doubt he is listening today, but man, if it's not for him, I don't know, guys. He saw it, man. He was like, this guy might not make it to the finish, and he hung with me, and he's on a totally different team. We did not speak the same language. We had no shared interests, and he saw me in this place, and he stayed with me, and he gave me some gels and some stuff you could trust, and got me to the finish. If it's not for him,
he chaperoned you to the top of the Jouplan.
Yep.
So Johan, correct me if I'm wrong. One of the craziest parts of that story is Pantani threw the race on its heels the whole day. Everybody was panicking, chasing him down the whole day. But he gets to the bottom of the Jouplan. We're about to catch him. He pulls to the side of the road and says, "See you in the douches." Dropped out of the race.
And abandoned. I know.
Abandoned.
I know.
Yeah. Complicated guy. Mm-hmm. Also sad to not have him around. Yeah. By the way, I got a sweet message from Jan the other day. Jan's keeping to his own. He's doing great. I'm super proud of him, but he sent me he WhatsApps me, because I'm such a Euro. I WhatsApp people. Is super cute. So he sent me some pictures the first picture is that finish line where we were shaking hands. And then the other one must have been, that's 05 tour. He says, "Nice remembers." I said, "I agree. How are you, my brother?" Anyways, he's doing great. So
that's great to hear.
Yeah. He's the man. Okay. Well,
we should get him on. We should get him on one day.
Yeah. I'll ask him.
Yeah. Would be nice.
Yeah. You guys could talk about obstacles over there in Europe that happen sometimes. Hey, this has been fun. JB, when are we doing this again?
We're back next weekend for Wevelgem. I always start with Wevelgem.
Okay. They still have that crazy climb at the finish. Like, what's that thing called? Real narrow and steep.
They never had a crazy climb at the finish again. Wevelgem.
It's usually a sprinter's finish, isn't it?
There's one that. Hang on, settle down, everybody.
It's not near the finish line. No, it's not near the
race has been going on for a long time.
But it's not far from the finish. What's it?
They're riding heavy old bikes this year, so it's going to slow it way down.
40, 50K. It's quite a ways from the finish.
But
anyway, it's all good.
Tell me the name of the climb.
Camelberg.
Yes, told you. Okay, I can't wait.
They do it 2 times or 3 times, George.
Back in my day was twice, but it might be 3 times.
No. The race has changed a lot. It's become a race that it's not guaranteed for a sprinter anymore.
Yeah. Because all the bikes are too fast and light now. That's why. Now they go back to those heavy bikes. Or something like that. we can always make a proposal to the UCI. Yeah, I'm sure that would go straight in the trash. But all right, hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll talk to you next weekend, and everybody have a good week.